I have back with me Phil Advice. He is the host of the Advice Show, and we're Skyping this morning. And there are several things I want to talk to him about. Phil, welcome back to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me back on, Jesse. My name is Phillip Scott. Just want to make sure you put it down for the record.
Your name is what?
The last name Scott, Phillip Scott.
Oh, Phillip Scott. Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. My family name is Scott. We might be cousins.
Oh, boy. That's interesting.
Yeah, my grandfather last name is Scott. Or was Scott. He's gone now.
In Texas?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I have family members all over, everywhere now. So, welcome back. How have you been?
Oh, I can't complain. Can't complain at all.
Yeah.
We good.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about several things, as you know. What are you thinking about? Did you vote for President Trump?
No, I didn't.
And why not?
I didn't feel he was the candidate for me
And why not?
because I didn't agree with his positions on a lot of things.
Like what?
Such as I didn't agree with his stance on immigration. I didn't agree with his misogyny. I didn't agree with the way he was conducting his rallies. There's a lot of things I just didn't agree with him on. So I felt that he shouldn't be the person, at least, that I would vote for. But if
Right.
others chose to vote for him, that's them.
What about illegal immigration that you disagree with him on?
I didn't say I agree with him on that.
But that's what about immigration you disagree with him?
Well, I disagree with the way he wanted to do it. I feel that we have over 11 million people here in the country. They're paying over $11.6 billion in taxes that most people don't know about. I feel we need to create a path of citizenship for these people because they represent about 5% of our workforce as it is now. And let's say if you get rid of all the illegals today, all of them go, then you're going to have a problem like they had in Alabama when the governor had put in some strong laws against illegal immigrants. They ran out of the state of Alabama. And within 30 days, they wanted them to come back because they had no farm labor, because most Americans don't want to do farm labor.
First, I want to say it's more than 11 million. They've been saying 11 million for the last 30 years. It's definitely more than 11 million. So you're okay with the borders, with open borders, where illegal aliens from all over anywhere are able to just come in. That's no problem for you?
No, I never said the words I'm okay with open borders. That's something you said.
Yeah, I'm asking, are you okay with open borders?
No country should have just completely open borders. So we don't have an open border as it is now. They're coming over illegally in many different ways.
But they're mainly coming across the borders because, especially under the fallen Messiah, Barack Obama, he tied the hands of the Border Patrol, and these people just came in. Are you okay with President
Jesse,
Trump?
I have to interrupt you on that because Barack Obama did the DACA agreement, which stated that there was already here the children of illegal immigrants. But actually, Barack Obama deported more illegal immigrants than any other president in recent years.
Well, that's not true.
That is true, Jesse.
No, that's not true. I'm
Jesse, that's
asking
true.
though, do you?
Yes, he did deport more than anybody else. And President Trump even said that himself.
What he did was he changed the definition of deportation. But let me ask, are you personally okay with, let me ask this way. Are you okay with the president putting a big, beautiful wall around the borders to stop the illegals from coming in?
I don't think it would help.
Why not?
It won't help because I have people that I know personally work on the border, and all they're going to do is dig tunnels like they're already doing, and they got certain spots they can just even go around a wall. And then you're not talking about the landowners that's going to lose their land on eminent domain laws, and they will affect them. There's been many landowners down in the area of Brownsville, Texas, all the way up on the border side that will lose their land. And what about those Americans that own that land? I mean, they should just lose their land to the government?
Well, I've talked with and known a lot of those people around the Arizona area and other areas that would be happy to give up a little land in order to stop the illegals from coming in. Does it bother you, feel that the illegals are coming in and they end up in the urban areas, the black communities for the most part, and they're taking low wages jobs away from black men? They are, and even black women, they are bringing in gang members from Mexico and other areas that are supported by the drug lords, and they're attacking blacks and running them out of their own communities. In Compton, California, Watts, and other areas, East LA is out of control, and areas in Texas. They are overcrowding the schools and the black communities, and hardly a day goes by when there's not a fight between the blacks and the Mexicans because the blacks are feeling overwhelmed. It's just one bad thing after another. Does that bother you that the illegal aliens are affecting blacks first and foremost?
Well, let me back up. Where's your proof on how they're coming into black neighborhoods exclusively? Where are you getting that from?
I didn't say exclusively. I said for the most part, they end up in the black community.
Okay, so you said the most part.
My question,
how much percent are we talking about
no,
here? Is
my
this a
question
theory of
is,
yours or this a fact? I'm trying to find out where you get that from so I can accurately answer you.
My question is, are you bothered by that at all?
No, you didn't answer my question so I can properly answer you.
No, the question is quite clear. I need you to answer the question. Are you bothered by
it? So basically your question is a theory.
No, it's not. It's a fact. I know it, and everybody and their mama knows it.
Well, no, you can't assume who's listening, Jesse, and who knows a fact and who don't. You the host, so I want to know from you so I could probably answer you. Is it a percentage of these illegal immigrants coming into the black community, and where you're getting that from, so I can answer you? That's all I want to do. I want to answer you properly.
I work in the black community. I know people around the country who live in the black community. They're experiencing it. And so if anyone doubt it, they can just go down there and find out for themselves. So are you bothered by that?
Okay, so we're going to base what you're saying
you're
off
wasting
of theory.
time,
okay,
Phil.
Fine, it's a theory.
Are you bothered by that?
Bothered by something that I don't have a full scale fact about personally. I know a lot of black people. I live here in the Houston area, and they haven't told me a thing about, well, we have a lot of illegal immigrants coming into our communities, because usually here, at least in the Houston area, they're living in their own communities.
And so you are not bothered that this is happening to black people?
No, I'm not bothered by anything personally because we are American citizens and black people, and we control our own destiny.
Amazing. Do you have the Wicked Witch of the West, Maxine Waters, and No Shame, Jim Brown, not Jim, but Al Green, and others
Jesse,
calling for the
Jesse, let me ask you a question, Jesse. Are you Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson? Am I accurate to say that?
Yes, but you can just call me Jesse.
Okay, but is that part of what you do? Do you have a church?
I do.
Okay, and that's good that you have a church. Now, let me ask you a question. Would Jesus call her wicked?
Yes. He would call her evil.
Why would he say that?
Because she is of her father, the devil.
Can you define evil?
Maxine Waters.
No, I say, can you define evil?
Maxine Waters. She is a liar. She is a deceiver. She's running around like a witch on a broom, calling for the impeachment of President Trump while saying nothing about the race hustler and poverty pimp Barack Obama. She's a liar, so she can't be trusted. She's an evil woman. And you know what happened, Phil? There was a meeting here in L.A. over at Crenshaw Christian Center, and Maxine Waters and all were meeting with the black community. Maxine Waters told the black folks that the Republican Party wanted to tear down the projects. And she named all the projects around the LA area. And she said, but I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to allow them to tear down the projects. And not only am I not going to allow them to do it, I'm going to build more projects for you. And the people are so silly, they applauded. Yeah, amen. And I'm thinking, this is insane. Maxine Waters live in a big, beautiful home. Her family getting the best of everything. And for black people, she offered them the projects. And she's going to make sure that they stay there. That's evil. But when I come back, I want you to respond.
Let's talk about that when you come back, Jesse. Let's talk about that.
I want you to respond to the impeachment cry.
We talking about Maxine too.
Of President Trump. Back in a moment, folks. We are taking your phone calls at 888-77-53773, 888-77-JESSE, anywhere around the world. Phil Advice is back, and Phil, you are a liberal kind of a guy, right?
That's incorrect. But can we get back to Maxine Waters? You left a statement about her.
Yeah, we'll get back to her. Are you conservative, or liberal, or moderate? Or how do you roll?
I don't even identify myself as any of that personally, Jesse.
Oh, you don't? When you vote, do you tend to vote for Democrats or Republicans?
I rather vote on issues if I do vote on something.
On issue? Oh, okay. So just for the record, you don't know that illegal aliens are impacting the black community first and foremost, right?
I didn't say I didn't know any of that. I didn't say that.
Are you aware of that?
I didn't say that I didn't know anything.
No,
I didn't say that.
Well, are you aware of that?
You have to define how they're impacting the black community. What way?
That's not the question. Are you aware of that?
But you can't say something without defining what you're saying. So how are they affecting us in the area of jobs, education? How are we affecting
all those areas?
Okay. I don't really know too many black people who's told me I can't get a job because a legal immigrant took it. So I don't know many black people at all told me I can't go to school because a legal immigrant took my spot in public school or even college. I don't hear that.
So just for the record, you're not aware that illegal aliens are impacting the black community in any form?
They're not impacting the black community here in Houston.
Okay.
That's for sure. And we have a lot of illegal immigrants here.
Okay. Just for the record, I just want it on record. What do you want to say about, ask me about Maxine?
Yes, you had made a statement that she was at a meeting and she said that she wanted to not allow them to close some housing for some reason, possibly build them more.
Right.
And, toward the end, you called the people silly. Why did you say the people were silly?
Because you have to have something wrong with you in order to think that you vote for a politician who is supposed to do what's good for you because she's working for you. And what she offered you are projects to live in, and you applaud that. It has to be something wrong with people to think that's a good idea.
Are these new development that she's talking about?
Well, she just said they want to tear down the old ones, and she's not going to allow it, and she's going to build more.
Okay, so you talking
like
about
that
Section 8
idea?
housing, or that's
Phil, you're wasting time. Is that a good idea for her to do that?
Go ahead, Jesse.
Is that a good idea to offer that to black people?
Well, some people may need housing, but I don't really advocate housing. I advocate us to work hard, create businesses, and do for self. That's what I advocate.
But she did not offer that at all, and they applauded the idea of this woman building more projects. Do you think? Do you agree with this woman? And now Al Green, a black, godless Democrat, that the president should be impeached?
Well, if she offered that to them, allegedly, I wasn't there. But if she did offer that to them and they clapped about it, allegedly, then me personally, I don't agree with housing projects, but some people may need that, but due to their income at the time. Now let's talk about Representative Al Green. We have no way at all to know if this man has God in his heart or not. So let's not go there, Jesse. But he went on the House floor, and we all saw that he called for the impeachment of President Donald Trump yesterday. That's for sure.
Are you for that?
If it's found out, as Director Comey has in his memo, if that is true, that he's told him to stop investigating Michael Flynn, it's not about what I say. It's about what the law says, and he will get impeached if that comes out to be true.
Well, there is no proof about a memo and that discussion happened. Have you noticed that the Democrats, along with the liberal, godless media, has been crying and carrying on about Russia since the president been there, and they haven't proven anything. There's nothing there. But because the Democrats have nothing to hang on, they don't have anyone that they can even run for president next time around. They have nothing, and people don't like them anymore. All they are doing is creating false accusations about the president in an attempt to delegitimize him. They have nothing else going on. Have you noticed that?
Well, Jesse, one thing I did notice though, and I'm gonna get to your points, is that you created a false accusation just now against people calling them godless with no proof.
But no,
That's not nice, Jesse.
I know for sure
You know for
that
sure people don't have God in their heart, Jesse. How do you know?
because the way they live, what they promote,
You're there
and
with them every day, Jesse.
when you are of God, when you are born again, you are His son or daughter. You don't promote evil.
And you don't call people names either, Jesse.
I'm
You
not
love
calling them
them,
names. I'm
right?
saying that they are godless people.
But don't you supposed to love them, Jesse?
I
as
do
your
love
neighbor?
them. That's why I'm
Don't you supposed to
telling.
love them?
That's why I'm telling them the truth because I love them.
And you call them godless, but no proof, though.
I just told you to. They support homosexuality. They support so-called same-sex marriage. They support LGBT folks going into whatever bathroom they of their choice. Do you support those things, Phil?
Well, let me ask you a question
No,
on
I
that,
just
Jesse, and
asked
I'm
you
gonna
a
answer
question
that
first.
question.
No, answer
Do you
that
have
question.
any
I'll
listeners
come back
possibly
to it.
LGBT
Correct.
or in same-sex marriages? You think you have any listeners that's conservative that listen to you?
Do you support? And then I'll answer that question. Do you support those things personally?
Well, personally, I'm more about the traditional family. That's me. But if you are LGBT or same-sex marriage, that's between you, your life, and God, not me. I just focus on what I do in my marriage and my household.
But do you think it's right?
It's not about me determining right or wrong. I'm not God.
Are you a Christian?
I'm a servant of the Lord. I don't label myself as Christian.
So you're not a Christian. You're a servant. As a servant of the Lord, is it right?
One thing I'm going to say is I live my life and make sure I do it in service to Him. And what He deems as judgment, He deemed that on those people. That's not my place. My place is to serve only.
So, as a servant of the Lord, as you call yourself, you can't say if all this stuff is right or not, right?
No, I can call things out I feel that is right and wrong.
So, is it
But that's
right
based
or
on me
wrong
personally and how I feel about my life. But what someone do in their life, that's between them and God, because I'm not their judge and I don't want to be.
as a servant of God, would He want you to correct, repudiate the children of the lie?
What He would like me to do is serve the people. That's what He would like me to do. Let judgment be reserved for Him.
So, but not to repudiate them, that they might think about what they're doing and repent and be born again. He doesn't want you to do that.
No, because if you know, Jesse, you say you go to church all the time. You know the Holy Spirit's in the earth to convict men's heart of sin every day. So I don't have to do that. I just need to serve.
Serve. What does it mean to serve?
Following the scriptures, Jesse.
But you're not following the scriptures when you're not showing
And Jesse,
love to your
you just
fellow
not
man.
violating the scriptures yourself by judging me because you don't know anything I do in my personal life other than what you either see on the internet or what you do now. So let's not go there, Jesse.
How did I judge you?
I won't make a judgment about your life because I don't know what you do.
How did I judge you?
Excuse me?
You said I judge you?
Yeah, you saying about things about my life that you know nothing of. That's making a judgment.
What did I say? What did I say?
You saying things about my life that you know nothing of.
Like
so
what?
what's your next question?
What did I just say about your life that I know not of?
Jesse, that's not running circles, Jesse.
But
Come
you
on.
just
What's the next question?
you just accused me of judging you, and I didn't judge you. And I'm trying to find out what are you talking about.
You're making opinions and assumptions about my life that you know nothing of.
What opinion
right?
or assumption did I make? You said you don't do any of those things. You just
You were mentioning about judgment. You was mentioning about what service. You mentioned all these different things. You're saying how I don't do certain things. So I was saying, look, you don't know my life. Just like I don't know your life. So I can't make certain opinions about you unless either I look into it, I hang with you every day, to that sort of thing.
back in a moment. Skyping with Phil Advice. Phil Scott Advice, I guess. And Phil is back. He is the host of the Advice Show. So be sure to check it out. We're going to get to your calls in a minute here. Phil, there's breaking news. I don't know if you're familiar with this case or not. There was a black guy in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, who was killed by a white female officer. And they had the little trial thing. And the officer was found not guilty yesterday, I believe. And are you familiar with that case?
Yes, Betty Shelby and Terrence Crutcher. Yes,
How do you feel about the outcome that the officer was found not guilty?
doesn't surprise me.
And what? And by the way, for the folks who don't know, this guy, the officer, he was walking down the highway there or something. His truck was parked in the middle of the road, but still running. The cop came up on him. She asked him to stop, put his hands up and stop, but he wouldn't. He walked back to his truck, according to the report, and it looked as though he was putting his hands into the truck. The officer didn't know what he was doing. She shot and killed him, and so she was found not guilty. And why you're not surprised?
Well, I'm not. I'm never surprised at a not guilty verdict when it comes to police officers here in America, and it's I can explain to you why if you want to hear it.
Yeah, why you're not surprised?
Well, I'm not surprised because usually the juries are made up of predominantly Caucasian members. Now, the reason I'm pointing that out is because Caucasian people in society, for the most part, and I base that off of talking to them, looking at their comments, and have their feelings about the police. They feel the police are there to serve and protect them, and for the most part, they do that. Most of them know police officers, know police chiefs here and there. Some of them know judges, and they don't see the police beating people up in their communities, shooting people, or having experiences that the black community may have with police officers. So everyone has an inherent bias. It could be a good bias, it could be a bad bias. So if they feel that the police is there to protect and serve them, they know the police officers, they go to church with some of the police officers, that comes into any kind of case that you have. Now, when you talk about black people, you have the media propaganda that's out there pointing out anytime a black person is wrong, just the negative stereotypes about black people that's out there, calling them violent and XYZ. Oh, if he's a big guy, you need to be afraid of him, and so on and so on. So if you combine those two things together and bring them into a jury trial, usually, from what I've seen, you're going to have a not guilty or a mistrial, usually due to those two biases. Now, if you have a bias, doesn't mean that you're a racist person, but bias is there. Most people in general have a bias.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing to me that you would say all that. I'm not surprised that most of these cops are getting off because usually the cops are innocent in these cases. Most of these blacks who are getting shot are mostly thugs, or they are overreacting to the cops, putting their own lives at risk. And what I've noticed over the
That's
years,
not true, Jesse.
what I noticed over the years that, and there are exceptions to the rule as far as white folks, but most white Americans are fair-minded, and they would go out of their way to find these cops guilty if they could, but the evidence is just not there. And also, I noticed that the police are not the same in the white community versus the black community because the crime is different. In black communities across the country.
How so, Jesse?
In black community, and I answer that's a good question. In the black community across the country, crimes are out of control. Chicago is an example. You're safer in Iraq than you are in the south side of Chicago right now. Black on black violence out of control. Detroit, Gary, Indiana, South Central Los Angeles. Are you aware that black on black crime is out of control and that the black violence, that in the black community violence is or crime is worse in the black community than in the white community? Are you aware of that?
I'm glad you brought that up, Jesse, because the crime in the white community, actually, white on white crime is 82%. So 82% of the crimes that are done to white people are about white people. You have 91 overdoses on average a day of heroin and crystal meth. You have an epidemic in the Caucasian community about that, but no one is talking about that. You have a higher suicide rate, according to the FBI's last statistics. The area of rape and arrest is astronomical, like close to 67% on arrest or rape. So why are we pointing out people by race instead of saying, look, crime is a problem in the United States of America? The only issue with black crime versus Caucasian crime is the media cover it up. They don't want to show Caucasian crime, but they'll blast black crime all day long. Trust me, crime is all over the country. It's not one group of people.
Well, according to the FBI report, 95% black on black. Black murder rate is many times greater and blacks are only 13 to 14% of the population. And so what you're saying is irrelevant.
It is relevant because that's statistics I was quoting, Jesse.
When we
and
come-
you talking about the FBI statistics on arrest, that's not based off total population. That's based off of those amount of people who are arrested, and it doesn't account for repeat offenders.
Also, the folks can look at the Department of Justice report. When I come back, Phil, we're going to take some calls.
Yes, sir.
888. Before we go to the phones, Phil, the last time you were here, I asked, are you the head of your wife? Are you still married?
Yes. Still married, lovely marriage.
Are
Lovely.
you the head of your wife?
My wife is not my property, Jesse.
Are you the head of your wife?
My wife is not my property. She's my partner, Jesse.
Partner?
Yes, partner in crime. Stick together, love each other.
No, that's
do
a
everything
term.
step by step.
That's a term that homosexuals use. That's not for men and women. So,
Jesse, that is very disrespectful to say something like that, Jesse.
but that's
Really?
true. That term came
But no,
about
it's not. Well, I don't
from
care
the
what somebody else call
radical.
themselves. You ever heard someone call themselves a partner in crime, Jesse? Like,
That-
what's the purpose of that
no,
conversation?
you said that's your partner, and that term
Yeah, it is my
came,
partner. It's my marriage partner, Jesse.
That
It
term
is.
came about from the homosexuals when they wanted this phony
So the word
idea
partner
of
was
two
not
men being-
available until they came about with their relationship. Come on, Jesse.
Yeah, but it meant something
You
else.
for straw, Jesse.
It
Come
meant
on.
something else. So, are you the head of your wife?
She's not my property. Now, what's the next line of question, Jesse?
Is that a yes or no?
You can call it whatever you want to call it.
What do you call it?
I'll call it as my wife is not my property, Jesse.
So-
Now, let's go to the next question.
Can I? It sounds like you're saying no. You're not the head of your wife. Are
You say
you?
whatever you like to say, Jesse. Go ahead.
Are you the head of your company? Whatever you do.
Jesse, what is the purpose of that question?
Because according to the order of God, men are the head of their wives, and as Christ is the head of man. And I don't hear men saying that anymore because they are afraid to say it. And I'm getting the notion that you're afraid to say that unless you're just not the head of your wife, but it seems as though you're afraid to say it.
Jesse, I don't purposely know the reasoning of this line of questioning. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with immigration. It has nothing to do with any of that we were talking about earlier, Maxine Waters. So I don't understand the purpose of that question. I answered it. You're trying to get another answer.
But
Take
you
it how
did not
wanna take
answer.
it. I
Oh yeah,
answered
you
it.
said
Now,
she
what's
was.
the next question?
You did. You said she was your partner, but you didn't answer if you were the head of her or not, of your partner.
Jesse, are you head of your wife?
No, but if I was married, I would be.
You're not even married, so don't worry about it, Jesse. We all good.
That's
We
amazing.
good,
You
Jesse.
can't answer that question. And the last time you were here, I also asked, what is a man? I don't remember what you said about that. What is a man?
Jesse, we're not going to play that game again. Jesse, let's get to the calls or let's ask some relevant questions about either immigration, Trump,
Well, it's
or
not a
something else.
game. It's an important question.
Yeah, Donald Trump. There's a lot of things we can talk about with him. Immigration. We can talk about other things as well, Jesse. That's not even relevant.
So you don't want to answer that either?
No, I do not.
Okay.
That's not relevant to the conversation.
All right. Let's go to a first-time caller, Kathy, out of South Dakota. Kathy, good morning. You're on the show. Thanks for calling.
Oh, good morning, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention a few things about law enforcement and firearms that is rarely discussed. When an officer is in a position where they feel that there's a threat to their life, and they think that, well, just because you have a gun, that's the end-all and be-all. They never talk about the fact that we all know that a gun can malfunction. So if you're presented with a threat and you think, I've got a gun, well, you can shoot it, but it doesn't mean that it won't either get a double feed or a stovepipe or even the slide can lock. So having a gun doesn't always mean you're going to survive a threat. And another thing they don't talk about is that just because you shoot the gun doesn't mean you hit your target. You can take a couple shots and miss. And then the suspect, by now, it's over. You would have lost because the suspect's moving and you miss. And another thing that isn't mentioned is you can fire your gun as an officer. You can shoot the body several times, and it's not like Hollywood. The body can shoot back. The threat can still shoot back at you. So officers know that, and they know they have a fraction of a second to survive and get home that night. And no one ever discusses all these other things that can go wrong during the job of an officer. People think that just because an officer has a gun, that's everything. That's really not the case. There's so many other factors that aren't taken into consideration.
Well, I definitely have the utmost respect for police officers around the country. Over the last 8 years or so, Barack Obama, along with this radical so-called Black Lives Matter people who are worse than the KKK, have really created an
Oh my
environment.
God, really, Jesse?
Have really created an environment that is dangerous for the cops today. How do you want to respond to what Kathy said? Phil, go ahead.
I just want to ask Kathy. Kathy, how you doing, Kathy?
Oh, hi, sir. I'm well, thank you.
I want to ask you how many officers died last year in the line of duty?
Well, in 2016, I think it was about 146 officers. That's almost every other day a police officer is killed.
Okay, and how many of them
That's
died
amazing,
from gunfire?
146.
How many of them died from gunfire?
I'm not sure, but
There will be six. I can tell you, ma'am. I can tell you, ma'am. There'll be 63 died from gunfire. 51 died from auto-related accidents, and about 11 of them or so died from health issues on the job. Now, how many citizens died last year?
Well, I'm not sure, but I can't wait
Okay,
to
it's
get to your point
it's 1,000 plus or so,
because
1,000, close to 1,100 actually.
Phil, do you wish it were
give or
more
take.
officers or something? What's your point?
yeah, I don't get the point.
My point
Well,
is,
yeah, what
no,
point
I
you
just
make?
asked us a question. She knew that.
Less officers are killed by firearms because they do everything they can to not to go home. They want to go home to their families. The numbers don't change the fact that an officer, when he or she leaves to go to work, they know the threat's there. They know every officer knows someone who's been killed on the job, and they know the threat's there. And in spite of all that, they still go out there and do what they can for citizens. And I will argue with you, sir. I don't think anybody does more for the black community than police officers. Nobody puts more gang members, dope dealers, child molesters. Nobody does more for the black community than police officers of every color and race. I defy you to tell me who does more for the black community than. We see it every day, sir. We see it every day. We talk about the high incarceration.
We have 2 more hours to go, folks. We're here 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, heard around the world by everybody and their mama. Phil, our time together is running out. I really appreciate you coming on. I'd like to ask, your show is called the Phil Advice Show.
No, sir, it's not.
What is it called?
It's called
the Advice Show, yeah.
The Advice Show TV on YouTube.
Oh, Advice Show TV on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You don't seem to have any advice. What type of advice do you give out on your show?
Well, if you watch, you would actually get the advice I'm giving.
What is the advice you give?
Depends on what the story is for that day. I want to teach people through news stories not to repeat the behavior that's seen inside the news video. So you can have advice like get your education, don't commit crimes, be a good person in society, raise your children, that sort of thing. Don't be a liar, don't be a cheat. There's a lot of things that we teach out of these news stories.
Oh, so more worldly advice, right?
Well, I think everyone all over the world would need to know not to commit crime and get education and not cheat and do the right thing. I mean, everybody needs to know that.
Why do you have to tell them that?
Scriptures teach that.
But today you didn't have anything. You didn't know that that the illegal aliens were infiltrating the black communities. You didn't know that.
But you didn't bring any facts to back that up.
You didn't know
either,
that black on black crime is out of control. You don't seem to know. But I do.
And you don't seem to know either. Yours is based off of theory, Jesse. It's not based off of facts.
It's not based off theory.
You're not presenting no facts.
It's not based off theory. But I do appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
Well, I thank you, Jesse. You know what, Jesse? You need to let me come to your church if I come out there. How about that?
You're welcome anytime, man.
Yeah, then you could counsel me and my wife about the head of the household. How about that?
I feel for your wife because it must be difficult.
Why would you feel for my wife? Please explain to the audience why you feel for my wife.
Because women who are married need their husband to be the head in order to protect and guide them spiritually, to provide for them, and to correct them when they're wrong. And most men are not the head of their wives, and the country is going to hell in a handbasket.
You just told a lie on most men, Jesse.
No, most men are not the head. I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and thousands, and they are not the head of the wife.
That's we're gonna pray for you, Jesse. That's it. We're gonna pray for you, Jesse.
But Phil,
How
thanks
about
so
that?
much. And when you come out, I'll have you on my TV show, all right?
All right, man.
Thank you, buddy.